Hey, real quick before we get started. Well, first, I'm your host, Lester Rowe. Thanks for joining, and if you're new here, thanks for joining the club. But this particular episode of the Midnight Movie Club had quite a few audio issues. Not quite a few, a lot of audio issues. In the middle, that audio somehow got messed up in the transfer, and then because I'm a professional, or at least try to be or pretend to be, I did have backup audio coming off of the camera, and I tried to clean it up as much as possible, but unfortunately, the people in the background decided that their conversation was far more important than what was going on in the room. And so there's points of this where you hear a lot of foreign voices and may not be able to hear the actual conversation that me and Lance Kramer are having. But look, me and Lance decided we'll follow up now that they've had a theatrical release of The First Step, the documentary we talked about, him and his brother Brandon. So I'm probably gonna have both Lance and Brandon on later to discuss this roller coaster ride of a release that has happened between the time that this interview happened and the next. Quite a bit has happened, but just bear with the audio as much as you can, and if you can't, I definitely understand, but please come back to listen to the follow-up interview with Lance Kramer and Brandon Kramer of First Step right here on the All New Midnight Movie Club. Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
I don't think she was. I don't think she was expecting what he said.
Me either. It was like, he ain't like Kansas. He didn't like Kansas. Like, oh man, Kansas don't want to hear that.
It's like, where are we again? Oh man, Kansas.
Then he was like, and the institution don't like the old pictures. Like, damn. What he was saying, they want to just show the iconic stuff. I don't know why.
They don't want to show his artistic stuff.
Yeah. So, like, well, you asked him to show up, so he told you what he felt.
Yeah.
So first, have you introduce yourself, talk about your film, and we'll just go from there.
Cool.
Go.
Thank you for having me.
There you go.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, I didn't know we was doing tonight's show.
My name is Lance Kramer. I'm a independent documentary producer. I live in Washington, D.C., and I produced the film The First Step, which is here at Tallgrass. It played on Friday, and it's playing virtually this week, too.
So me and you got a chance to talk many times before now, many times before the festival. But so first, let's talk about what is First Step about.
Sure. Yeah, I feel like this is great because it's like a continuation of the conversation we've been having now over the last few days. The First Step is an independent feature documentary. It primarily tells a story about Van Jones under the Trump era trying to work across party lines to fight for criminal justice reform and a better response to the addiction crisis amidst all the divisiveness and partisanship and, toxicity that we all know all too well from the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And about his kind of quest to pull together this bipartisan coalition to work with him to, accomplish that goal. So it's a very personal story. It's complex. It's really kind of gets into the nuances and perils of trying to be a bridge builder in a very divided world, and the relationships he's trying to form, the blowbacks, the highs, the lows, the unlikely allies, and, strange bedfellows, if you will, that, come together to do something like pass a bipartisan criminal justice reform bill that you would need to get Trump's signature, to become law. And super famous people are in the film, like Kim Kardashian and Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, and also a bunch of incredible grassroots people that most people probably have never heard of, who really steal the show and are really in a lot of ways, the real heartbeat of the film. Particularly activists and community leaders from South LA and rural West Virginia, who are all frontline activists who have dealt with addiction in their communities and wind up coming together.
How did you get started on this? Because this is your second film, documentary that you produced. How did you get started with such a high profile subject?
Yeah. The long story or the short story?
We got time.
we got time. So if I go back a little further, so the we, first of all, is my brother and I. So Brandon, my brother, directed the film, and I produced the film. We worked closely together. Mm-hmm. We made our first film was called City of Trees, and we started working on that film in 2010. We finished it in 2015, and as it took 5 years. Around 2014, when we were in the early stages of the edit of that film, we reached out to Van cold. We were looking for some expert eyes on the film.
On the
City of Trees.
Okay.
The last film. We had a rough cut. It was a very early rough cut. And we were trying to get some people to watch the film that had real expertise in the issue areas that the film was dealing with. Economic justice, racial justice, environmental justice, the stimulus, the Obama stimulus, which was a central part of the film. And like Van Jones was like the epicenter of all those things, his experience.
Continue.
And
we'll cut away.
Sure. Find a good we can find some good B-roll.
Yeah.
And so we kind of were thinking about like who has the kind of life experience and work experience that we were looking to have that perspective of watch the cut. Van was like really the person that we thought of. We didn't know him. We found like a friend of a friend of a friend who had worked with him.
Okay.
Wrote to them an email.
Yeah.
It got forwarded to Van. He responded to that email. He watched the film. He really enjoyed the film. We had a phone call. He gave us great notes on the film. And through that conversation, we realized that actually, like, he was really interested in documentary filmmaking. He had been interview subject in a bunch of films, but he had never really been involved in the making of process of a film. And we were kind of surprised to also discover that we had a lot of shared sensibilities in terms of storytelling.
Adaptify to all of it.
Okay. No, you're good.
So heads up, there is carrot cake available. For all those who are not here, you're missing out on the carrot cake. Anyways, long story short, it was like through that initial contact, we discovered that there was a lot of synergy in terms of what we were interested in. And that led to us ultimately collaborating with him on the film. Mm-hmm. So on City of Trees, he wound up becoming executive producer of that film and helped us. He's not in the film,
yeah,
but he helped us a lot behind the scenes to get the film out there. Then after that film came out, we made a independent miniseries together in 2016 that was called The Messy Truth. And we released that before the 2016 election. And it was a series of 3 episodes where in each episode, Van went to the home of Trump supporting families to try and have some sort of conversation across the divide. And at that time, basically no one was doing that.
Yeah.
And so Van, even just to have that conversation was, radically different than what a lot of people, in Van and our camp were doing. We didn't do it with CNN. It was an independent thing. We self-distributed it on Facebook.
The
shorts. It was 3 episodes. It blew up, had like millions of views, like tens of thousands of comments, all across the board from both sides and sideways, all sides. It won a Webby. And it was like then on the heels of that, and unfortunately, the outcome of the 2016 election, Van was really, doing a lot of reflection on what kind of role he wanted to play in this new reality of the Trump administration, and came to this realization that, while a lot of people who he knew were running the other direction, forming the resistance, and just, fighting against the Trump administration on all costs, he felt compelled to try and find or see, was it possible to even find any area of common ground with conservatives or even the administration on the issues that he had fought for his whole career. And he said that if he could find that, he'd work with anyone who could still get things done for people who he had fought for. And we felt like, from a storytelling perspective, we had for the last 10 years been exploring these stories of people fighting for social change and social justice, against whatever odds were in front of them, and trying to tell these honest stories about those fights, particularly when you had to work with people who you don't agree with, or trying to bridge a divide, and just felt like this was an opportunity to try and tell a story about someone or a group of people that were going to do something to try to overcome this now like huge chasm between the left and the right, and a lot of the fear that was also in front of us about what was going to happen, to all the communities and issues that we care about.
So what's interesting about this, and we're going to talk more about the subject, but I don't want to ignore the fact that your first documentary out, you executive produced by Van Jones. And then your second one, and then the stuff in between is Van Jones. And then the one we got playing today, First Step, or playing in the festival, First Step, is Van Jones. Like, you are 2 projects in and you're already top tier. Like, that's remarkable. For one, that doesn't happen for everybody. There had to be a point when you do get that reception back that, Van Jones is interested, that you and your brother like high five, and like, how did that go when you get that back? Was there a joy there, or did you feel like, it's getting real now?
Yeah, I mean, okay, good. I'm glad you're like stepping back. It was nerve-wracking as hell.
Should have been. Would have been for me.
Like when we, like, I don't know famous people.
I can't tell. No Van Jones.
But
he cried on TV.
I know Van. Most of the people in Van's world, I don't know. And even the people who are in the film, I can't say I know them. We've been with them, but I can't reach out to them for a favor.
Yeah.
We don't hang out together. Going back to that time in 2014, it was very nerve-wracking, because here was we were no-name filmmakers, had never made a film. We were trying to make our first film. We thought we had something good, but no one else did. Very few people.
On the First Step.
City of Trees.
Okay.
If you're going back to that time. We thought we had something special, but very few other people. So it was scary to write the document, because
would be here. See us to reward and give education.
You could like it divider. So we prepared just to have that first time. We'd talk about had held seat on the stuff. As I think I was surprised by how he treated us, like he didn't kind of come in on a high horse, like oh, I was so great. Like, you all don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, sorry, no, fuck. But you, okay. But like, what I was surprised by was that he had a lot of this experience, obviously, world experience in his demons. But he didn't know that much about finding. So he actually was curious. And it was a really surprising thing that he was saying things like, well, this is what I think, but I don't, I'm not the soulmate. I don't know what the process is. So you all know better than me in terms of process. I'm just giving you a take, but from my point of view, but like he would respect and almost defer to the thing that he ruffles as though you were the experts there. You're like, we're the experts, was so far figures out to me. Yeah. And so it created, it was like, there was this kind of surprise attitude in terms of, right, all of us are bringing it. I'm happy to actually get that. I think that's what we've just tried to build over time in our whole relationship, was that like there's things that we could bring into here, so many that were very different. What he knows and have this like dissect. What we did with that in particular was like, so like our relationship with him on that first film, it was not financial. He said, I wanted to see what the actually going to help. Proud to see the air now that we're in this season, call it out, bringing for the, the help with distribution and things like that. But it was a non-financial relationship. We were helping him too. Yeah, so he had a little production company that's in there and have a profile. And one of the things we helped him with is like, well, I don't know how to get TCs, but I do have some experience building production treasury. And so we also have clinician in that part. And we on how to get that. That should know. This should not be released. But that, and so there was like this. I went that down that you're almost like, why not let's change and demonstrate what we children. We always have, I would be really surprised that you could have a very honest conversation with him. Advantage at least say, and that putting fear more on the business. I think you do it. So the thing is, I could say all the things that I could say tip, and then it would to be the case that we tell us the only delighting in a sense of just like we're good for him. We cut bad bit of a good thing and we just build it from there.
I think you missed some of the conversation, right? With your brother during one of this part of that we first.
I did think that I have rendering and was a politician, but you're fat of. But super big shit, but yeah. And you're like, and all stuff.
At night, but like what you're saying about the band is one of those things that, like, when I talked to her for the first time, I said, check that one. And so we always said, and viewing her, interviewing her for a but the semi-documentary series I was making.
Maybe down to right.
It's weird because you look at these politicians almost like celebrities, like, oh, they're going to be highbrow about conversation. We're going to say things like, I'm not going to be able to understand, but the ability to also have those conversations that feel intimate enough that we just being honest, It's not the dance of blessings. Okay. That's a red person.
I don't do it, but the birdie. That's something else.
Getting fell on. Free that college fights. There's some doubts about level, but they break the next they take.
And it's like, oh, we're not as a base of our sister and fully think.
Do that like conversation and realize that, oh, they have no problem with being equally as.
Oh, so how long do you want?
Yeah, I put a screen mention to it. And talk a little bit of thoughts. We didn't have any thought of it. That verse.
I'm so jealous. You're trying to forget Egypt. So embarrassing.
We talked before, so I know it has to do with some nonprofit, but talk about what made you say, this is the first project. This is what I want to do, and I'm the right person to take it to. Well, for me and my brother, the right people to tell the story. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that maybe just a tie into that too. It's like, I think one of the things that Van, I think, respected when we were coming playing was that we were trying to tell an independent story. We weren't part of like the CNN machine. We also were trying to find and all this trying to make this one kind of like as well as we could. So kind of, I think, you know, I live in you better in DC or LA. There's a lot of client. There's a lot of please, what can I get for you? I'm gonna pay him 10. That's just not where we were coming from. Ted, I think he saw that, and that like put us in the right category. There's a lot of good people maybe just approach this asking for stuff. As what we've been trying to do was tell this story that we had basically been embedded in at that episode for 4 years, which was this world of nonprofit organization in DC that in the thick of that recession, the previous, but we about the curly. This one now is in the official. It's like, whatever we put. But it's happening in 2021. Yeah. This is being recorded 2021. Now I'm going back to 2010. And December, global recession, Obama came into office, and there was a bill that most people don't know about. It was called Reparative Recovery and Reinvestment. Far up, I'm not sure. Give it right
Yes, man. I know the first couple that just during the housing stuff.
Right. Well, so this goes back to like 2008. The very first statement about a big dog.
Okay, so before I'm thinking about the TARP.
Start is in TARP this book.
Okay, you got it.
So TARP was
DC.
Yeah.
All different things.
Yeah, acronyms like So TARP was like the summer of 2008, but Bush was still in office. Then Obama was January 2000.
Okay.
Close.
Yeah, the deal.
There we go. Yeah, and then within the first 90 days, Obama came to office. They passed the $787 billion, almost $1 trillion, to basically get money into communities.
As a very irrelevant.
Because the country fell apart. Like, we're hemorrhaging jobs.
It's still main goals. It comes forward.
That passed this bill. And a big part of the bill was the job training programs to get people back to work, retrain in deals. And let's get.
I didn't know they funded what August full tunnel. Did you?
A part-time program.
I had ranging drinks in the same dehydratation.
Well,
just big need to.
Made a signature.
Really?
Try to, I got to see where your Rio be at photo. The TF Korean infrastructure. Great job.
No,
so we.
I had surgery covered
as we were starting to work. So, we're building ourselves for is about in a day-to-day space.
that is
Had it up a bill later.
Thank you, Tanner.
Found us $500 a month to in a building in DC, which happened to be run by a nonprofit organization. That round.
Carol, great.
And we happened to take a large stimulus job program in the country to run a big job training program in communities mostly east of the Anacostia River with DC, employing people, largely people who are long-term unemployed. It's just all incarcerated to this kind of entry was where you're a job about or a shoulder at your land. And all right, well, we became friendly with the organization. Our shit action. We got to know people in the program because we were just like, and it just felt like they're very distinct story to tell about what people at a very, very grassroots community level were doing to try to navigate that very scary sense. But what their experience was, but also through their direct experience, it was also a little microcosm of what they figure all nearly $1 trillion national programs of impact. And the crazy thing is that we had literally almost $1 trillion federal programs that no one would have, like, you ask someone on the street, even in DC, people didn't know what it was in a lot of cases. And so we were like, this is a crazy thing that this is kind of happening in communities that people don't have a way. It's just the honest. Like, what does that actually look like? Those files there. And not in a promotional purpose. We got job, we're doing it funny, but to really just understand the texture. And so we felt like there was a need to, there was something we could do to try to tell a story about what a small group of people experience was. So none of that has time. As a mistake, we need to write
What's your going into this and being it here, was you already a political person, or has these two projects in terms of where it is, or what you said, people don't know about this well. So it's 2021 or 2021, you look at it's a lot brand that were made at the time.
Idiot. We're going to walk it for 2 shots.
And Grizzle's a lot of the people in surgery.
These are falling with the damage out down.
They need to get it out. They know a lot of low last there, what if all in that process. So
Did I not? I saw shift like
that went down. The way you describe it doesn't seem like it was that much. Today was it? Well, a person's got a better balance. Oh, so I thought that could literally discharge things by project. This time that I had yours, it's patient going chill seems to report.
that Chris Noter band or sponge girlies. Dispatching club fit.
It's a good question. It's like, I mean, I was born in DC. I grew up in Bethesda, Maryland, which is not in the city, but it's not just city, but still inside. My brother grew up in the same place, but both of us grew up there. Parents didn't work out politics. My dad was an artist.
That was baby.
So but a lot of our friends were for the parents.
Pursuing problems, right? And
Not in politics to work for the government. It's an incense. So
color and teeth and stuff like that, but I got new chicken in the world.
appreciating
And then see it again. What I have my eye on is to see is not
those famous politicians that you hear. But it's actually all the people you never hear that go to work every day, get on the train, get on the bus, go to the big office. You drive by DC, go
Cider. I didn't realize the cultural war.
and they're running all these programs that we take for granted and don't even think about, but they disappeared. We are not
These need be. And so there it was.
here, Republican, Democrat, black, white, otherwise, we all benefit.
It was done. I
And
wasn't
yeah, very few people
smart out of state great.
and make the create how to maintain that space.
I don't sound all free man and something.
And I think that,
He's also needed.
and honestly, I didn't disagree because I knew some of the people that worked.
Many kids.
As I guess, like, as I got older, as I
And then his
started trying to work as a singer, several question. Is a filmmaker for training stories and tell. Maybe getting back to this question, like, why would be one's code story? It's like, it's like, think about, like, well, what is I trying to say through film? And I think the big thing I at least came to realize, the black war.
was there a reason on it? The stunt?
Try to, like,
Well, maybe he's
work as an activist, like, fighting for different causes that I care about. And honestly, like, very quickly, okay, for out,
like the salad.
like, plates just scorpionings. Yeah, up there.
It's in our real assistant. Do you remember how we're learning that
There was an opportunity and be
wasn't there for yourself? Greenies deep one.
tell stories about that.
No, I bet.
Being that worked really good.
New readings.
In big fights. like that there was something clear, the big tops over the top, and things by the war.
Are there any? Yeah, what are the areas? I think still become a dominator.
We'll try to push for it. You will adjust them, flourish or something, and that cause there was opportunity to like if you could just zoom in on a very personal level, there was something maybe greater understanding that could help advance the seat and the misunderstanding.
The topics and type things out here and so literature. You do that is and big progress.
Because like we think, oh, there's just going to be one big win, and then the world has changed. Yeah, but actually, the way that this stuff works is
I knew I saw this as
slow. There's some on top of it. It's hard to say how the bill become a dog.
We just how it now ends.
You know how do you start?
They're alone in there. All I did is
see that you care, and they can actually be quite dramatic too. From a filming, it's like then a sale is something at stake. It's sadly or in a drive, but it actually can be dramatic because it is dramatic. It's people a lot.
Right. With the lad, now she gives the first step. So with that, how do we take
and that's
that conversation we had before about, and he was telling me how band was just going in this speaking tours, trying to talk it out from when it fall on and the criminal justice stuff. How did you take some of that slow work once it started working? How did you
I also do that.
How do you comb through all and figure out how do I make such something that is classically boring and a regular person and make it take, look, this is something that was very important and add that drama to it. Because, quite frankly, I watched my fair share of board meetings. Pretty bored. Well, not anymore. Now everyone's something like a vaccine structure for more.
Emergency and get way down.
In general, hottest corner boards.
I went to the ball there. I got 50 feet. So we have one. Oh, it's got to cut. People sit it.
Or I do type that and you think and the first step to making something worth watching.
And learn to do which bleached.
I mean that. So that was a question that people had for us.
Yeah, it was great. And that's not for the ski over. It's okay. Are you still like it's so basically their kid at her state date, he would call up for injury, right? It's nice and carry what's her.
We had that same question for ourselves too. Initially, like because I was talking about the other day, it's like at first, well, man was like we had talked about those areas.
Somebody did here
about what
so mine just about at the deer.
Very people guess what's whoever had had these issues is very absent.
Ran out of things to
retort.
But telling
specific to the idea that even in speaking tour to promote things. Yes, who cares? Those cities had these events. Got up on a stage, or had a podium.
I've been doing criminals passion.
People ask passion. He wrote a book. Morning news. Good morning, Aaron.
To Nebraska, I'd already have a book.
What year is this?
2017.
This is actually for South.
You filmed a lot of that. Yes. We ran around the country. Speak.
Yeah, to the TV shootings that.
I mean,
Alan.
Went to the TV studio. Get a little bunch of the scenes. Dude. That was out of it. It was exciting.
It's like how it's had to say it's
go around. Fart.
Friendly to get a bit at us up.
Well, no Vaders. They had hedged to these. But what are they? It would be, hat. It's back. Like a good featurette, like a dummy game. Right, and but it was a feat. It was part of the club. We think it's a good cleanses. It wound up here.
Tom, do you want to give me an idea where I can volunteer or should it?
It was just top, and he's still needing 44 feet long. But yeah, Orange was the second speech in the head. Very singing. Yeah, I followed the artist.
How?
Artist, the one that kind of started like tour out, and then it's like, I'm shooting. It's like I've heard you saying the same riff every time. You learn the jokes.
Yeah, but mine's a beat. I really wanted to sue.
And that's a great sign.
But then is it good, moving me is they do
Consider
and Van even said the same thing to us too. In the start filming, he said, "Look, like my life is dramatic, but it's not cinematic. It's like what hasn't quit."
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of movie you're gonna make. Like, so he was skeptical. What changed was that those ideas that he put into the ether and started taking root. And the way that they took root, I think, like not abstract but concrete ways. It was that Jared Kushner, Hawkhead, and others. So Jared Kushner was notably complimented this ideas, and that got connected with Van to work on. We still know when Jared Kushner was trying to get Roberts. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, here Van's going to talk abstractly about ways that Democrats and Republicans could work together for justice support. Now there isn't action yet. The Republican in the White House and wanted to run with that.
The controversial one at that.
But it like, and then, so it's like, cope, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And then similarly, this group of people in West Virginia, they school and then we had these individual experiences with addiction. Van had been abstractly talking about the idea of like relativization and the crash cocaine addiction crisis, like the criminalization of that addiction, and now it's been seen as public health issue in places like West Virginia and Natasha with the opioid crisis, and he had been talking about that abstractly, that opportunity. I would think they potentially was together, but then it would actually start to play houses. There were these action people had do trust for the gap, and then it was like a cult. People are real people. Now that's different.
Did I first order about orders that
audio here? I heard this part. And then all the DJ's time is because I got the great. How long to do that? For a year, years. I get about it.
And it was study time, that by the time those two things started to click, we already had so much time when it was trust.
I heard even a lot of edition.
That I understand it.
I don't have any and
it's going there, a story.
So that by the time those 2 days in particular,
well, we do it.
It was much easier at play to just start.
Then breathe
and Rebel started cool. So then the create hacks
and process.
So 5 billion of what the clean to come into the specific.
None of that stuff.
From so it's in fake feet.
So we had
no, but you're the one to see it. But I see it. No.
They got it. That's speaking to process. It's crazy. What did you learn from the community?
Okay, you shouldn't process so making these things how you create this.
To know about your development, great ideas, but not like touching the first night. So as patches, I feel my what I think.
Yeah, keep it alive.
People today and Walter will be fighting for the infrastructure bills and fighting for different first thinking what about be making me from to solve that? I'm afraid we're probably need to understand a lot better about how he's defined and question.
After right. No, but thinking about that. They were others. These are what is there? Yeah, 1,000.
I'll have it, but I've seen it play out.
I could cover one answer. Okay, what have you? How many do we have?
Actually, change
history, can make a difference.
I would be treated rough by choosing now if I can take the international ratings, just obvious the back of man.
I've seen that play out. People It's
Feral is a massive cause of occasion.
I didn't keep Kevin of you. You know, Mr. Russell. Where we worked.
and a lot who have on this adventure. But they treat it as possible that they're applied direct to the parts.
No, I don't make charming here.
I'm whole body.
I'm forget least.
I would have out of 30 houses, a good friend to it. I make your 10 in the morning.
So I think that that's here. I was skeptical. I'm a little bit for educational.
Thankfully, interpret of international. This is from it. And this is just
An example for me.
for shame. It's called editors.
What does that look like, though? For what is
very the plate him. Look, what are you fate him to the vegan?
I'm over
For why didn't we bend by the nothing?
it.
The fact that church brainstorm wide the bad, you know, all
There's mentioned from the insurer that may there was urgency behind that becomes sideways when there was death out of it lakes with something like again prison reform. I just feel like I'm a favorite, and because it read other people look at where I need to be prison,
as I wondered, I supported these.
and that's what that looks like can be so abstract because it can't mean anything from
Okay, I do. Felt
all the way to
champ the old dog.
these flower pop. What can a person on the grassroots level, what did that grassroots level look like?
Yeah, I mean, so it's take technician example. It's like you have basically you had thousands of people.
Yeah, so
In the United States, and they're stationed into BC,
and they're just
a lot of those are fallen apart, so they've been personally impacted, either themselves or their family members, all of the ones, either who's got involved. And at the state levels, they were going to their state capitals.
He hadn't out with me, Breda.
They were talking to their Congress people and senators when they senators bring Congress people feedback goal
learn to meet in constituents.
when they were applying PC. Take in.
We could have done 270.
Was it's possible? It's like
You can get speed he's had.
Harold so well could continue.
being congressperson or senator, day that they'd stack. Usually that's the better meetings. Actually,
Inside how it
no, well, the things, maybe the day what you're saying, it's actually, if you get more telling, they would meet with their people.
Right.
So you could get with meat. And they were taking producing orator, and they were orator. And so that
does that person just have it's not a job.
work ended in coordinated batches started to move the needle. It wasn't the only thing, because there's a bunch of other stuff happening too, but it was a big part of it. And they were very laser focused.
I get the part of like cell either.
On the idea of getting that fill passed. They had a melting top
Here I was station, but
of changing the system, but they also had the, I would argue, the foresight that I had to start somewhere. And so they got laser focused on a particular objective.
I just don't
Path to this. And part of the controversy was that it was this question is fighting down that first step going to stand in the way of the greater progress or the greater shape. And that's literally what it's called. And that would, like, we try and set these like reflect on it. So to that debate.
I don't know what this enticing is. Or can he's stop my
We could do teach exploring math inspiration. The positive like his reality, white's term, all these things.
style.
Where you start.
Yeah.
And I was a beer game, a shop.
Fake game. Yep.
So I told
I don't trust that. That's the shit's the way he stretches his.
I got a cut.
But I mean, to answer your question, it's like I think that in these
I be a broken artery. I don't know breath.
slow, annoying systems of the democracy, like sometimes small specific things can, like move or get done even as hard as it can be. Closer said, like saying it's got to be all, and I think that's what I've seen play out, and I think that's in thing game,
Like,
people at the federal level can talk and participate in. And then honestly, we're the more of the impact with the station telling freezing, which is where a lot of
The prison safety.
yeah, the majority of people at prison say prisons out about like a couple 100,000 people at federal prison, but a couple million people at the state prison. So if you want to change the system, you can't just do it at the federal level. You actually have to go state by state and undo all these injustices.
I'm the way you're up in
Every damn state that are fighting for this stuff. So in Kansas and Arkansas and Oklahoma, if you get a victory in Kansas, it's not automatic. That's going to putt. So then it's like, how do you stay coordinated?
the meditation. There's an over
Collaborate.
for your lot. That's even been genius. That's great. During
That's just for your colleague. Well, you're on art, but
Well, he said undergraduates and
And it is something is
word
why did she put that itch?
Guy Van Jones, you got a lot of this high football self-work on, you know, Bill. Is this still kind of a, we're on it, we still trying to figure out the
Side
scale
and up and
names or even potential talks of like things
come and hurts the bone.
without had that scale Netflix. She brought Amazon on the CNN. I'm the word where the nebula says.
yeah, I'll be very like open about it.
I'm just trying to take
We're not in talks about it. Just at least we have tried. We took it to all the major streamers. Don't remind me about most of the major markets. Everyone that's done that's all go.
in there.
Well,
What the word is my next?
well, that's why I'm here. But I would say, I'm happy to say, it's record on this that
Every deal. And I'm sitting behind when it's too deep. One
I mean,
hope that, and I think that I'm leaving
and it didn't seem right with it.
possibility and encouraging them
You know, you that did it. Do think I did a job.
like Greg and Phil,
Or some kids did one.
that people like Tallgrass read the film.
Fix for when we scored.
And if I was also, it's like, if we weren't coming to Wichita and we weren't getting those invitations and also getting the passes from all these people in New York and LA that I made to go, maybe we don't have something here.
Yeah.
But the fact that at the regional level, people see something, and that programming it, audiences are responding.
righto.
And that's just been happening now, 24 states that we've had, have already had or
And we're pretending like nothing happened.
nothing happened.
Yeah.
So I think what I was saying was that, like, are we back on?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Like,
You said how we met. So that's kind of like how we met.
how, what is it? Tell the story. About Ray. Right. How Van, like, you were asking me before, like, how do you meet with someone like Van Jones? He's this shit. We did.
No. Yo.
Hey,
Yeah. We good.
Yeah. You were asking me at the top of the interview, the conversation, like, okay, so where does this like relationship with Van come from?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it just came from building a relationship. Like we've known each other for 8 years, 7 years. And it's like put in the work, getting to know someone and just like invest in that relationship like day after day and you build on it. And I think I even kidded myself into thinking like, okay, we could work on this film for 5 years, show up to a fancy film festival like Tribeca, which is where it premiered,
Yeah.
and then just say, okay, well, now we're done. Someone's going to magically get what we did,
Yeah.
take it from, it's like, all right, it's a, relay race. Like you got it from here,
Mm-hmm.
go take a nap. Like, and you run with it. It's your turn. And then I wouldn't have to do more work. And I believed that because I was tired and just thought like, okay, this is what happens. It's like people just recognize it. And I think I've been reminded that, like, I think to get to the point that we're striving for, it's just going to take more of that same kind of work, like day by day, person by person, city by city. It's sometimes a frustrating reality because I'm tired, you know, like it's a lot more labor, but I think that's sometimes just what it takes. I wish it was easier, and I think it shouldn't be this hard because it keeps a lot of people, it keeps a lot of projects out, you know, and I feel fortunate enough that I found a way to make that time and to be able to still invest that energy in trying to keep pushing.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends just they can't. They got kids, they got jobs, they just can't figure out the formula, or there's just too many cards stacked against them.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. And I feel like one of the things that I'm also trying to do while I'm getting this film out there is to also try to figure out how do we change some of these things so that people don't have to be up against such insanely stupid odds to get their work out there. And so, you know, on the back end, you know, behind the scenes, like we're all just always talking about how do we change this shit?
Yeah.
Because it's just ridiculous. And you know,
It's
for
hard.
someone who has many like advantages as I have
Yeah.
in, you know, my favor to face that much hardship, then if you stack up other disadvantages or obstacles, structural or otherwise, it's just like, it's ridiculous that it's that hard. Especially with all these opportunities out there.
And it was part of that too. It's any news to get you didn't have it without
Because you get
whatever you're supposed to train.
figure out how to manipulate a little bit everything, even know that there's more platforms out there to be seen. So you take a film like yours that's fully fleshed out, notable names, and you still have a hurdle. But then if you want to go strictly independent, try to make money off of the clicks and the views and this and that, the ads, then you kind of lock behind, well, what is trendy? What is trending? What is, because even so, you know, if a major thing happens, you know, within the next month that involves police brutality or anything like that, suddenly this unsold documentary is now, well, let me see what y'all got. Let me look at this, because then it's poignant.
Yeah.
And it's a part of the current conversation. So you could almost benefit from the algorithm working in your favor when the industry isn't.
Well, I'll say something about the algorithm too. I mean, it's like one thing, it's like, you know, I don't want to benefit off someone's pain in that sense. You know, I don't want to be opportunistic to, oh, well, I'm just waiting for this bad thing to happen so then my movie's relevant, you know, in that sense. But also, it's like, I think the algorithm is part of what creates, it's not the cause, but it's a symptom of some of these dynamics like keeping us apart, that are keeping us apart. And I think some of the challenges that we've been running up against in distribution are related to things that you see play out in the film.
Yeah.
In the sense that we've actually heard that from some distributors where they'll literally say, there's not an audience for films about people trying to come together.
Damn.
Or, but I didn't say coming together, even trying.
Yeah.
And also, we don't know how to market a film like that. A film about people trying to come together. What they're not saying, that's what they're saying. But what they're not saying, which I think is the other side of that statement, is we built our business model to deliver to people who are in lanes that we've identified, that they may not even identify for themselves, but that we've identified based on some behavior. And we're not interested in shaking up those lanes.
Right. Because, I mean, we just saw that in the last couple of weeks with the Facebook deal that was, deliberately targeting things to certain directions, which, that is it's weird because I go to YouTube and it tells me you may like watching someone build a chair, and I press play, and you know what? I kind of like watching people build chairs. It knew that for me based on a habit.
Yep.
And, and it knew that for me based on the habit that makes them money, because if I watch it, the ad will play, the click will go. Yep. In the same way with what you're saying, because, just thinking about it, what is the, without being salacious, what is the line that you give for your film that someone who's trying to figure out where to send it, how would we get this to the person who would likely watch this, which I think a lot of people will watch it based on what you've told me, what other people told me. It's just get it to those people. And obviously your barrier of entry is the people who get the program gets what?
Yep. I've like come to realize that I think the film is a little bit of an algorithm breaking proposition. And I think that that's the power of the film, but it's also part of the challenge of the film. I think I'll bring a full circle to Tallgrass. It's like one of the awesome things about film festivals and the world of independent film is that like programmers at Tallgrass aren't thinking about, what's like the algorithm for Wichita.
Right.
They're just like, I know my community. Like I'm a person, I'm not a machine. I know other people, not machines. And like I can put something in front of people that they'll love. I can put something in front of people that might challenge them. Like, I can mix and, so it's a very different proposition, on a community level. And that's a very good match for the way that independent filmmakers work and tell their stories. Because independent filmmakers are not thinking about, I'm going to make this story because it's going to catch that, algorithm. It's like they have something to say.
Yeah.
And it's a vision. And I think the thing that we're all trying to figure out is how do you take things that are made that way and still get them back into these mainstream or mega platforms that have been built. Mm-hmm. I don't think we figured that out yet because there's still too much of a kind of a divide between the independent world and this now like insanely huge, structure that's being built on the streaming side. I think if we can figure it out, it'll be transformative. But until then, I think the independents could be in a, precarious struggle. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you do get to break that algorithm, but what I'm having you do, and I thank you for coming to Tallgrass and sharing your film with us. But go ahead, introduce yourself again, talk about your film, how to find it, and maybe give your social media stuff out, and we'll call it done.
Is this for the intro or for the outro?
The outro.
The outro. All right. Well, then
I haven't even decided how I'm gonna put it all together yet.
Well, I appreciate you.
Oh, okay.
I just want to thank you.
Okay,
I want to thank you. I don't know if you're gonna put it in the beginning, but I want to thank you for it. This has been a lot of fun to talk about, right. And I appreciate you taking all the time and interest in the film. So the film is called The First Step. You can still see it on the Tallgrass platform for about a week, I think.
Oh,
I don't know.
It's come out.
Whatever.
So that come out. There's 2 weeks now. They can't see it.
Okay, so if you're watching this after Tallgrass, go over to the website thefirststep.com, and we're listing all the festivals where it's playing either in person or virtually. We still have several left, so people could stream it from the remaining film festivals. If you happen to be in one of the towns, come see it in the theater. It's great on virtual, but better in a theater. And if you happen to see it And, we would love if people post something online. It's at First Step Movie, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And literally one of the best things people can do is like watch the film and then post your thoughts. Love it, hate it, not sure. Post those thoughts, tag the film. And I've also been telling people, if there's a platform or a channel, a broadcaster that you think this film is a good fit for, write something on social media and tag that place. Say like, hey, this feels like this would be right up your alley. Like,
Yeah.
So, and also, it's helpful if people go on IMDb and just give it, a rating, leave a review on there. That's really helpful too. But so at First Step Movie on social media, thefirststep.com on just the website.
And you are?
My name is Lance Kramer. I'm the producer of the film.
Okay.
Film is directed by my brother, Brandon Kramer.
The Kramer brothers. They're going to be like the Coens, I think, or I don't know. Our team.
Siblings. Yeah. Family.
All right. Well, thank you so much for doing the Tallgrass 2021 Tallgrass Film Festival. And we hope to see you next time you come through. And maybe next time we see you done had it sold.
Thanks.
It's already on HBO Max, Showtime, CNN, Crackle. I don't know. All right. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.